Welcome to the HyperFast Agent Growth Show. Get real strategies, real results, and real estate them differently. Lead generation, team building, AI, and more from billion-dollar agents, best-selling authors, international speakers, and real estate coaches, Kerry Shull and Lesniak. Let's dive in!
All right, welcome to this episode of the HyperFast Agent Growth Show. Today, we are going to talk about the portal wars. There have been some big announcements in the last day, 2 days. So we're going to talk about it all. But first, we're going to go back to kind of where it started. So let me just share my screen here with you quickly. This all started really with Zillow and Compass, right? That's how we got into this. So about a year ago, Zillow announced a policy where they were not going to allow homes that had been pre-marketed or marketed before going on the MLS. They weren't going to allow them to syndicate, and this kicked off a big war with them and Compass. So Compass actually filed a lawsuit against Zillow. That is still ongoing, right? So Zillow was trying to stop, or Compass was trying to stop Zillow from excluding their listings that have been pre-marketed, right? Because Compass has spent like $1 billion building a technology, and part of that was a pre-market platform. And right, so that lawsuit is still ongoing. The injunction for it failed, right? So Compass also filed an injunction to stop this policy of Zillow while the lawsuit was, taking place, because it's going to be a year-long process, probably, or more. And so Compass lost the injunction, but the lawsuit is still ongoing. And then so a few weeks ago, Compass kind of pivoted and they announced that they signed an exclusive coming soon syndication deal with Redfin. Now, Redfin, if you look at portals, a number of views, monthly unique users, Redfin, just to like bracket this conversation, Redfin does well. They have like over 50 million unique monthly viewers, but they're number 4 though overall, right? So they're behind Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com. So they essentially signed this exclusive deal with the 4th largest portal, which is Redfin, right? So you look at the article, they're gonna have coming soon listings on Redfin that feature the Compass agent, right? So and also on this coming soon platform with Redfin agreed not to show the days on market or price drop history, right? So they're essentially in that deal hiding data from consumers. This is kind of interesting too, because in the original lawsuit against Zillow, Compass actually named Redfin as a co-conspirator, right? So this happened a few weeks ago, and until yesterday, you heard nothing from any of the other portals or big brokerages. Well, that all changed yesterday. Keller Williams, Remax Home Services, Side, United, came up with a exclusive deal with Zillow, right? Zillow is going to offer a Zillow preview platform where you can see homes before they come on the market on Zillow, right? And so you look at this deal. All right, Zillow announced the debut of Zillow Preview, a new offering providing agents and their sellers with the option of publicly pre-marketing their listings before the properties transfer to active listing status. All right, so the deal included Keller Williams, Remax, Home Services of America, Berkshire Hathaway, United, and Side. So I think when that announced yesterday, people were wondering, well, what about EXP Realty, right? What about the largest brokerage by transaction count? Well, It didn't take too much longer because like right before this podcast shot, the CEO Leo Perea of EXP Realty got on and Instagram announced EXP Realty's deal, and it happens to be with Realtor.com, Homes.com, and ComeHome.com. Many of you maybe don't know what ComeHome.com is, but it's basically Google search. So a few months ago, Google decided to get into the portal home search game. They display listing information directly in the Google search results. So um, obviously this is a newer entrant into the portal market, but probably a really powerful one because they control what shows up in Google results. Now, the unique thing about EXP Realty's deal is it's a non-exclusive basis. So, what does that mean for EXP Realty, the agents, the sellers? Well, unlike these exclusive deals, EXP Realty is going to open source the data and the information, and any other portal like Zillow, Redfin, any other portal, and there's hundreds of others ones out there. Those are just the big ones, but any other portal can also syndicate and show the homes. So what this will translate to is, if you're a seller, obviously, if you want maximum price, maximum efficiency in selling your home, you want more eyeballs on it. And, since EXP locked up three of the top portals, uh, plus the ability for any other portal, right, to syndicate it. That means hundreds of more portals can syndicate the EXP Realty coming soon home. So, the most eyeballs are going to be, in the coming soon period, and this is just like going off facts and stats, right? Is going to be by choosing an agent with EXP Realty. So, really good news for EXP Realty agents, really good news for EXP Realty sellers because they're going to get more eyeballs um, on their listings, on their homes. And this all starts April 15th, right? April 15th, it'll go live on realtor.com, homes.com, and Google. And then any other portal that wants, to syndicate as well can, because it's open source, it is non-exclusive. So, EXP, and this is a position they've taken for a while. They want to bring transparency, broad consumer access to housing inventory to serve the consumers, uh, in the best possible way. So huge news for EXP Realty, and EXP Realty agents and sellers. And it's hard to argue with the concept that getting more eyeballs on a home that you're trying to sell is going to bring the best results. So what does that mean and for real estate agents? Well, as a whole, I think um, a lot of agents, of course, are going to talk about this, get news about it. But I think like anything else, right, it can also be a distraction. So I think real estate agents, you're going to maximize your business by having more conversations with more people, right? Something that Carrie and I talk about on this podcast. I talk about that a lot on the Powerhouse Talk podcast with Tim Harris and Julie Harris and Orlando Montiel and Chris Heller and Casey Anderson. So, um, again, I think if you're an EXP Realty agent, this is great news. If you are an agent at another company, now is probably a better time than ever to take a look at, what would shifting your business to EXP Realty do for you. But the bottom line is, right, your business is going to be directly proportional to the work you put into it. And the real work of real estate business is creating conversations, right? I think in my last podcast, I talked about the three things that you need to do as a real estate agent. You need to really aim for 80 to 90% of your time to be spent on those three things. And that is generating prospects, following up with prospects, converting prospects, right? So again, if you're concerned about all of this, right? Just remember to stick to the basics, stick to prospecting, stick to proactively calling expireds, calling FISBOs, calling your past clients, calling your sphere of influence, calling the homes around your listings, around your open houses, right? If you do that for 2 to 4 hours a day, you're going to build an amazing business. Um, Now, if you're at one of these other brokerages and you're wondering like, oh no, is my business ruined? My company signed up with an exclusive deal with someone that gets $50 million or 50 million views a month. EXP Realty now has this network of portals that is going to be over 170 million, views a month, right? So my listings are going to get 3 times less the views of an EXP agents. Well, no, that's I think if I wouldn't be worried about it, right? If you are spending the time proactively prospecting, generating leads, following up with your leads, converting your leads, right? If you're doing that, then a lot of this is noise. But I do think it's a great opportunity, if you're not at EXP Realty, to take a look at what the company offers, right? It's a company that sells more homes every year than any other brokerage, right? So it's a company that's large, proven at scale, selling a lot of homes. A lot of huge teams are there, teams that are selling $1 billion or more a year. Solo agents that are selling, uh, we had some solo agents, the company last year, right? Not a team, solo agents selling over 200 homes a year. And I think there's value in that, right? Because if you're surrounding yourself with people that are performing at that high of a level, it will pull you up. You'll learn from them. You'll get energy from them. You'll get motivation from them. So there's a huge value in being a part of a community and collaborating with agents and just being around high performers. And EXP Realty definitely has that at the highest level. So there's that aspect of EXP Realty, right? Is the aspect that it is an amazing community and culture and place to be a part of, where agents pull each other up, right? Um, there's the financial model of it as well, right? Because you have a low cap. It's an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. You keep 100% of that. That alone has saved some of the agents I've brought over to the company, over $100,000 a year. They're lowering their brokerage fees, some of them by that much. So huge opportunity for that. But really the biggest opportunity, and as I mentioned this, I think a lot of these portal war news stories kind of creates this illusion of divisiveness or a divide in the industry. And this company has this syndication deal and this one has that, right? So there's this feeling, I think, perhaps of divisiveness out there. But the real divide, as I see it in the real estate industry, are the agents that are playing the short game versus the agents that are playing the long game. The short game is transactional. The short game means every time I sell a home, I go back to zero. That's true if you're a solo agent selling one home a year, or a solo agent selling 3 homes a month, or even a team that's selling 100 or more homes a month, right? Every month, you're back to zero. Every January 1, you're back to zero, right? The moment you need to go take care of a loved one or get sick, your income stops, right? If you're playing the short game, which is, one transaction at a time. Now, on the other side, right, we talked a little bit about the agents playing the short game. There are some agents out there that are playing the long game. So, what does the long game look like? Well, the long game means you are in a model, you're at a company like EXP Realty that has revenue share, right? Revenue share allows you to get paid even when you are not selling homes, right? And then the revenue share model comes, how that works, right? You bring an agent to the company, they join you, right? Either as a solo agent, or they have their own team, or they join your team. They may join you locally, they may join you in other states. Like our group has, in my 3 years at EXP, I've sponsored agents in over 20 states, so they can join you anywhere, right? And when they do that, when EXP shares, right, when that agent comes over, sells a home, EXP shares some of their revenue with you, right? You're not taking a split or anything like that from the agents. EXP is sharing some of the brokerage revenue. And it has a multiplication and compounding effect because the revenue share system at EXP Realty is 7 levels deep. So if that agent that you bring over brings agents into the model, well, guess what? Now you have agents on your second level or third level, fourth level, all the way down to level 7. So, you may only bring over 4 or 5 agents a year, but each of those agents does that, well, now, that's 25. And then the next year, maybe it's 100. So what does that do for you financially? Well, it gets you out of the transaction treadmill, gets you out of the short game and into the long game, right? It gets you into this network building game, right? This game of getting paid multiple times for your activities instead of just one time. And, instead of like going from transaction to transaction, you just have conversations with real estate agents or people looking to get in the industry and find the people that you want to impact, that want to help, that you want to help grow and build. And when you pour into those people and their business grows and they recruit agents, it can create something that will pay you for decades and pay you a lot more eventually than just selling homes. So if you're out there wondering, like, what is EXP Realty? What does it look like to have a sponsor, like Dan and Carrie? I would love to have that conversation with you. In our group, by the way, we give you over $40,000 of coaching material, trainings, program access, right? So in addition to all the EXP benefits, like the low cap, the EXP training, the EXP technology, the revenue share opportunity, right? You get, in addition to all that, when you join with us, you get over $40,000 of coaching benefits. We truly become your partners. We truly want to help you sell more homes and build your own revenue share group. And that's the power in this model. It creates the ultimate levels of collaboration, support, and partnership. So if you're interested in making the transition from the real estate short game to the real estate long game, send me a text message at 703-638-4393, and I would be honored to have a conversation with you. And if you're out there getting spun up about all the real estate portal wars, just remember this, right? You control your business. You control the amount of conversations you have with people. And there is a massive opportunity right now for the agents that are willing to consistently, proactively prospect. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Please let me know what you thought of the show. Leave a 5-star review if you got some value out of it. Share it with other real estate agents. I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to HyperFast Agent Growth Show with Kerry Shull and Dan Lesniak. Real strategies, real results, real estate done differently. If you love this episode, tap subscribe and share it with another agent who's ready to grow.